Welcome to Life Story 999. Today, we bring you a story filled with surprises and emotions. A wealthy man decides to invite a homeless woman to be his companion at his ex-girlfriend's wedding. Her presence leaves everyone astonished and changes their lives in a way no one could have imagined. If you enjoy this video, please like it, leave your comments, and subscribe to our channel for more touching stories. David sat in his upscale apartment, holding the wedding invitation from his ex-girlfriend, Sarah. The news of Sarah's upcoming marriage hit him harder than he had expected. Sarah had left David a year ago, saying he was too focused on work and neglected her. Now, as he looked at the invitation, David felt sadness and bitterness. The thought of attending the wedding alone only added to his anxiety. That afternoon, while wandering through the busy streets, David saw a woman sitting quietly on the corner. Her clothes were worn, her hair disheveled, but there was a kind smile on her face. Despite her difficult circumstances, she exuded a sense of dignity. David stopped, looking at her longer than usual. "Hi," David said as he approached her. "I'm David." The woman looked up at him with surprise. "Hi, I'm Emma," she replied, her smile gentle but cautious. David didn't know why he wanted to stop and talk, but the more they talked, the more he was drawn to Emma's resilience and openness. She had been through tough times, but had never lost her kindness and hope. In a moment of impulsiveness, David suggested inviting Emma to accompany him to Sarah's wedding. "Would you like to go to a wedding with me? I'll get you a beautiful dress, a nice meal, and an experience like no other." Emma was surprised, but also curious. She thought for a moment, then smiled and agreed. "All right, I'll go with you." And so began a journey that would change both of their lives. The next day, David kept his promise and took Emma to one of the city's most exclusive boutiques. As they entered, Emma's eyes widened at the luxurious surroundings filled with designer dresses, sparkling jewelry, and elegant shoes. For a moment, she felt out of place, but David's reassuring smile gave her the confidence to step forward. The boutique staff initially eyed Emma with curiosity and indifference. Her simple attire and tired appearance did not match the usual clientele. However, once David made it clear that they were there to find the perfect dress for Emma, their attitudes quickly shifted. They brought out the most beautiful dresses, the perfect shoes, and the best accessories, treating Emma like any wealthy customer. Emma felt a mix of emotions: excitement, nervousness, and disbelief. The staff styled her hair, applied makeup, and helped her into a stunning dress. When she finally looked at herself in the mirror, Emma could hardly recognize herself. She looked elegant, confident, and beautiful. Most importantly, she felt a spark of hope that she had not felt in a long time. David looked at Emma proudly as they left the boutique. "You deserve this, Emma. You're worth more than what life has thrown at you," David said, his smile warm and sincere. Later that evening, as they sat in a quiet cafe, David and Emma began to open up to each other. Emma shared her story, how she once lived a normal life but fell on hard times after losing her job and facing a series of unfortunate events. She spoke about the loneliness and hardship of living on the streets, but also about the small acts of kindness from strangers that helped her keep going. David listened, feeling a deep respect for Emma's strength. In return, he shared his own struggles. The pressure to succeed in his career had led him to neglect his relationship with Sarah, and he was still grappling with the guilt and pain of their breakup. For the first time, David felt like he could talk about his emotions without fear of judgment. A genuine and deep connection began to form between them, built on mutual respect and understanding. They found comfort in each other's stories, realizing that despite their different backgrounds, they had both faced challenges and emerged stronger. As the evening came to a close, David looked at Emma with a sense of hope. "Thank you for agreeing to come with me, Emma. I think this is going to be an unforgettable experience for both of us." Emma smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. "I think so too, David. Sometimes, life surprises us in the most unexpected ways." And with that, they both knew that this was just the beginning of something special. David kept his promise and took Emma to one of the city's most exclusive boutiques. As they entered, Emma's eyes widened at the luxurious surroundings filled with designer dresses, sparkling jewelry, and elegant shoes. For a moment, she felt out of place. But David's reassuring smile gave her the confidence to step forward. The boutique staff initially eyed Emma with curiosity and indifference. Her simple attire and tired appearance did not match the usual clientele. However, once David made it clear that they were there to find the perfect dress for Emma, their attitudes quickly shifted. They brought out the most beautiful dresses, the perfect shoes, and the best accessories, treating Emma like any wealthy customer. Emma felt a mix of emotions, excitement, nervousness, and disbelief. The staff styled her hair, applied makeup, and helped her into a stunning dress. When she finally looked at herself in the mirror, Emma could hardly recognize herself. She looked elegant, confident, and beautiful. Most importantly, she felt a spark of hope that she had not felt in a long time. David watched Emma with pride as she examined herself in the mirror. Her transformation wasn't just physical. He could see a newfound sense of strength and self-worth in her eyes. As they left the boutique, David turned to Emma and said, "You deserve this, Emma. You're worth far more than what life has thrown at you." His words were filled with warmth, and Emma could feel the sincerity behind them. Later that evening, David and Emma found themselves in a cozy corner of a quiet cafe. The atmosphere was warm and welcoming, the gentle hum of conversation around them providing a comforting backdrop as they began to share their stories. Emma, taking a deep breath, opened up about her past. She spoke about the normal life she once had, a steady job, friends, and a place to call home. But then, a series of unfortunate events had left her without a job, and gradually, without hope. She described the struggles of living on the streets, the loneliness, and the small acts of kindness from strangers that had helped her hold on. David listened intently, his heart aching for what Emma had gone through, yet deeply admiring her resilience. He could tell that behind her gentle demeanor was a woman of incredible strength, someone who had faced more hardship than most people could imagine and had still managed to keep her humanity and compassion intact. In turn, David shared his own story, how his obsession with his career had led to his relationship with Sarah falling apart. He spoke of the pressure he had put on himself to succeed, the sleepless nights spent working, and the constant need to prove himself. It had cost him more than he had realized at the time. As he spoke, David felt the weight of his past mistakes lift slightly. He had never opened up like this before, and it felt liberating. As they talked, an unspoken bond formed between them, a connection built on empathy and shared vulnerability. They understood each other in a way that felt rare and genuine. Despite their vastly different backgrounds, they had both faced challenges that had pushed them to their limits, and somehow they had both survived. David found himself drawn to Emma's outlook on life. Even after everything she had been through, she still found reasons to smile, to hope, and to keep moving forward. He realized that what had started as an impulsive act, inviting her to the wedding, had turned into something much more meaningful. Emma wasn't just someone to keep him company at the wedding. She had become someone he deeply respected and cared about. Emma, in turn, felt an unexpected warmth towards David. She had initially agreed to his invitation out of curiosity and perhaps a desire to experience something different, even if only for a day. But now, sitting across from him, hearing his story, she realized that David was not just a wealthy man trying to impress others. He was someone who had made mistakes, someone who was trying to find his way just like she was. The following day, David and Emma went over the details for the wedding, what time they would leave, how they would arrive, and the things they would need to prepare. Emma was nervous, but David's steady confidence helped to calm her. He made sure everything was taken care of, ensuring that Emma would feel comfortable and supported throughout the day. As they prepared, Emma couldn't help but feel overwhelmed at times. She had never imagined herself in such a situation. Being dressed in designer clothes, preparing to attend a lavish wedding as someone's date. It all felt surreal, but David's presence made it easier. He was attentive, kind, and patient, always reassuring her when she expressed her doubts. The night before the wedding, David and Emma shared dinner together in his apartment. The atmosphere was relaxed, and there was a sense of anticipation in the air. They talked and laughed, and for a few hours, it felt as if they were old friends rather than two people who had met only a short time ago. David could see how much Emma had changed in such a brief period. She was more at ease, her laughter more genuine and her eyes brighter. Before parting for the night, David looked at Emma and said, "No matter what happens tomorrow, just remember that you belong there as much as anyone else. You are strong, beautiful, and deserving of all the good things life has to offer." Emma nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. She knew that no matter how the next day unfolded, she had already gained something precious, a renewed sense of self-worth and a connection that felt real and meaningful. As Emma returned to the small room David had arranged for her to stay in, she couldn't help but reflect on how much her life had changed in such a short amount of time. She thought about the people who had walked past her on the streets without a second glance, and how David had seen her, truly seen her, and given her a chance to feel human again. It was more than just the dress or the makeover. It was the way he treated her, the way he listened, and the way he believed in her. The preparations were complete, and all that was left was the wedding itself. Emma lay down that night with a mix of excitement and nerves fluttering in her chest. Tomorrow would be a day unlike any she had ever experienced, and for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to feel hopeful about what was to come. The wedding day arrived, and as Emma stepped out in her beautiful dress, she looked like a completely different person. The transformation was not just physical, but also in her confidence and poise. David looked at Emma, feeling proud of the journey she had taken in just a few short days. "Ready?" David asked, offering his arm to Emma. She nodded, smiling with determination. "I'm ready." Together, they walked into the grand hall where the wedding was taking place. As they entered, time seemed to slow down. Curious eyes turned towards them. Whispers spread through the crowd. Emma, with her newfound elegance and confidence, walked beside David, no longer the woman sitting on the street corner, but someone who commanded attention. Sarah, the bride, stood at the far end of the hall, her smile faltering as she saw David and Emma. She hadn't expected David's presence to affect her so much. Seeing David happy with a mysterious woman made Sarah feel uneasy and slightly regretful. David and Emma made their way through the crowd, with David introducing Emma to old friends and acquaintances. Emma carried herself with grace and charm, refusing to let the curious glances affect her. She knew that tonight, she was there not just for David but for herself as well. As the evening progressed, the whispers grew louder, and people began to speculate about Emma's identity. Some admired her beauty and poise, while others seemed skeptical, trying to figure out who she was and how she fit into David's life. Emma, however, remained unfazed. She had faced much worse in her life, and these whispers were nothing compared to the challenges she had overcome. Eventually, Sarah approached David and Emma, her expression a mix of politeness and discomfort. "David, it's good to see you," she said, her eyes flicking to Emma. "And you must be—" "This is Emma," David said, his voice warm and proud. "She's my date for the evening." Sarah forced a smile, but it was clear she was struggling to maintain her composure. "Emma, it's a pleasure to meet you," she said, her tone polite but lacking warmth. "I hope you're enjoying the wedding." Emma met Sarah's gaze, her own expression calm and confident. "Thank you, Sarah. It's a beautiful event, and I'm honored to be here," she replied, her voice steady. The tension between them was palpable, but Emma refused to let it intimidate her. She knew that Sarah was struggling with her own emotions, and while Emma had no intention of causing trouble, she also wasn't going to shrink away. She had earned her place here, and she wasn't about to let anyone make her feel otherwise. David could sense the tension and decided to diffuse it. "Sarah, congratulations again. Everything looks wonderful," he said, his tone genuine. "I wish you all the happiness in the world." Sarah nodded, her eyes lingering on David for a moment before she turned and walked away, her expression unreadable. David let out a small sigh of relief and turned to Emma, his smile returning. "You handled that perfectly," he said. Emma smiled back, a hint of pride in her eyes. I wasn't going to let her intimidate me, she said. Not tonight. David felt a surge of admiration for Emma. She had come so far in such a short time, and her strength and resilience were truly inspiring. He reached out and gently took her hand. Come on, he said. Let's dance. They made their way to the dance floor as the band began to play a slow, romantic tune. David wrapped his arm around Emma's waist, and they began to sway to the music. For a moment, it felt as if they were the only two people in the room. The whispers, the curious glances, even Sarah. It all faded away, leaving just the two of them, lost in the music and the warmth of each other's presence. As they danced, David realized that inviting Emma to the wedding had been the best decision he had made in a long time. It wasn't about making Sarah jealous or proving a point. It was about giving someone a chance, and in doing so, finding something he hadn't even known he was missing. He looked into Emma's eyes and saw the same realization reflected back at him. Thank you for being here with me, David said softly. Emma's smile widened, her eyes glistening with emotion. Thank you for believing in me, she replied. And in that moment, they both knew that this was more than just a night at a wedding. It was a beginning of something new, something real, a chance for both of them to find happiness, not in spite of their past, but because of the strength they had found to overcome them. Together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The wedding continued, and Emma's presence became the subject of conversation among the guests. Sarah tried to maintain her composure, but couldn't hide her jealousy and regret as she saw David happy with Emma. She realized that she had lost something precious, a genuine love she once had. After the wedding, David and Emma decided to take a walk under the night sky. The air was crisp, and the stars twinkled above them as they strolled hand in hand. David looked at Emma and said, I don't want today to be just a one-time thing. I want to help you, support you, and see you pursue your dreams. Emma's heart swelled with gratitude and hope. She looked at David, her eyes filled with emotion. Thank you, David. You have no idea what this means to me. For the first time in years, I feel like I have a real chance to turn my life around. David smiled, squeezing her hand gently. You deserve it, Emma. You are strong, resilient, and capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. I want to be there every step of the way. Life is not always easy, and both David and Emma knew that. But their story is a reminder of the value of kindness, patience, and hope. A simple act of compassion can change someone's life, and sometimes, all it takes is one person believing in you to help you see your own worth. Emma had found not only a companion in David, but also a renewed sense of purpose. And David, in helping Emma, had discovered a deeper meaning in his own life. Together, they knew they could face whatever challenges lay ahead, not as individuals, but as a team, supporting and uplifting each other. As they walked away from the wedding venue, the night felt full of possibilities. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, both David and Emma felt hopeful. They were ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, hand in hand. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, leave your comments, and subscribe to our channel for more touching and meaningful stories. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to bring you stories filled with emotion and hope.